Hi, my name is Troy Charter. I'm the Director of Transit Operations with OC Transpo, and we're here today to take a behind-the-scenes look, and we're in our Transit Operations Control Center, or what staff here refer to as the TOCC. The TOCC, it's our multi-modal control center operations where we manage and control and basically direct all the service that OC Transpo provides, whether it be conventional bus service, paratranspo, our O-train system, lines 1 and line 2, as well as our special constable unit who liaise with our emergency response partners, including OPS. It is an open concept room, and the reason for that being is we want to make sure that all the various areas are able to communicate very quickly and effectively, because it's all about putting the customer first. We provide a very, very integrated system for our customers, and our customers expect a seamless customer journey, whether it be bus to rail or rail to bus. They want to see that. So the idea behind this room, and we'll walk through it, is to have it open concept, because we know that the majority of our customers are using a combination of bus and rail, and it's all about, as I said, putting the customer first. Just a little bit about the room itself. We've always had a control center, obviously, but with the launch of Line 1, the Confederation line, we had to expand it and take on some additional responsibilities in terms of our control room functions. We manage, over 750,000 calls for service a day from our operating staff. 750,000 calls a year from our operating staff, about 2,300 a day. We provide over 340,000 customer trips, and over 850,000 paratransport trips on an annual basis. 340,000 customer trips daily, 850,000 paratransport trips on an annual basis. The room is essentially broken down into three key areas. What we have, I'll just walk over this way here. What we have over here is our special constable unit. They have delegated authority from Ottawa Police to enforce certain bylaws and criminal codex on or about the OC Transpo system. So they're really our eyes and ears from a safety security perspective, and they work very, very closely with Ottawa Police Service and our other emergency response partners. They oversee the over 2,400 cameras that are throughout the system and on our vehicles. Obviously all the trains on our O-train system are equipped with CCTV cameras, and a couple of years ago, City Council also approved that with every new bus purchase, they will come equipped with CCTV cameras, and that would all link into here. This part of the room here is where we manage our conventional bus service and paratransport service. We have a team of supervisors that work together to provide that seamless service for our customers. Each supervisor has access to speak to operators directly, and they have access to real-time GPS information on the bus, how it's performing with respect to its route. They can make adjustments, they can dedicate other resources to provide as best service as possible for our customers. Each supervisor manages at peak periods about 180 buses, and the computer system that they have here allows them to drill down and, if they want to look at buses that are running on time, or look at buses that are running late, or, they can even look at buses that are running in this specific area or on this specific route. So they have a lot of tools at their disposal to be able to, look at the services, how the service is going, and what adjustments they can make in that regard. As well, within this section, we have a maintenance supervisor who is coordinating our on-street resources in terms of, we have a team of mobile mechanics that are working out there, and they can respond to things like cracks in mirrors or other little things that we can fix on the fly that doesn't require a bus coming into service. So they're just an integrated part of the service here, and it's, as I said, it's all about providing that that ultimately the best possible customer service for our customers. And at the front of the room there is where we have our assignment clerks and dispatchers that are watching what's going on with our paratransport service and making adjustments there. And we have sometimes it's cancellations from customers or requests for additional service. So they're making all these daily adjustments to provide as many trips as possible. and just to react to what's going on the street. Within this room as well, we are very much linked with our traffic management partners. You can see on the screens back here, we have access to all the City of Ottawa traffic cameras, and we have a control room manager that is able to call up traffic management and maybe ask them to move a camera in a specific direction, or even ask for changes to light timing, or request their support and services to keep our service moving as best possible. And then the newest addition to the control room is obviously our rail control component here. So this is where our electric rail controllers work, and they're managing the service on line 1. It's a team of 3 controllers at all times. One of the controllers is a mainline controller, and they're responsible for overseeing all the train movements on the line and making sure that trains are operating with an even spacing, even headway, to keep things flowing well for our customers. We also have what we call a SCADA controller. That controller is looking at all the various systems, monitoring the systems, and if there's any alarms, is there any action that needs to be taken, or do we need to log any help desk calls with our long-term maintenance provider, Rideau Transit Maintenance. And then the third controller position is a communications controller. They monitor the system, and they're looking at the cameras at the stations, and they would be making PA announcements, or they'd be updating the passenger information displays at stations to provide maybe it could be directional information to customers, or sometimes it's even just we notice a customer that's standing too close to the line, and they'll get on the PA and say, for your safety, can you please step back? And then at the back of the room here, we have what we have our control room manager, essentially our quarterback of the room, and they're responsible for bringing it all together. I talked about it's a multi-modal service. It's not just about rail; it's about rail, bus, and that whole safety and security component. So we have our control room quarterback, or control room manager, so to speak, and they're responsible for pulling it all together and making sure that we're providing that seamless service for our customers. The TOCC, when it was built, one of the things that we really wanted to focus on, not just fostering the communication for our staff to ensure that positive customer experience, but it was all designed about ensuring that it was it's terms of sound attenuation and distraction. It was designed so it's open concept, but at the same time, from the ceiling tiles to the panels on the wall to even the cork flooring, these were all specific design decisions that were taken to foster open communication and dialogue amongst the various groups, but at the same time to keep the volume levels down so that staff can focus on the tasks that they need to do. We met with many other properties, took lessons learned as far as what they did, and we even looked in-house. Some of the concepts that you see applied here are also from our partners in paramedic services. But it was all designed to make sure that, as I said, it was a good, healthy environment in which our staff could focus on the tasks that they need to do, but at the same time, it fosters that open dialogue to provide that seamless service. Launch operations, commence usually around 4:15 in the morning, about 45 minutes to an hour in advance of service. So what we do here is we coordinate the launch between the yard control center, which is over at our maintenance and storage facility just down the street. What essentially happens is, yard control, they manage all the movements within the maintenance and storage facility. Trains are brought up to what we call a handover platform. That's when our operators board the train. And once that train exits the handover platform, it goes into a connector track. That's when our staff pick it up and manage it onto the rail line. Every start of service day, we perform what we call sweep trips. And these are trips that travel at a low rate of speed. And they're just going out there and they're making sure there's no obstructions or issues on the line that would prevent service from starting up and going about its normal operation. So our sweep trips usually start about 45 minutes in advance of service. Once they're complete, trains get staged, and then we commence service from there. Line 1, Confederation line, operates over approximately 12.5 kilometers, and we have terminus stations at Tunney's Pasture and Blair Station. At peak periods, to ensure that we're able to keep the service frequencies of approximately 4 minutes, we perform what we call a double turnback operation, which means as the train arrives at the station, we already have an operator that is stationed at that platform to get into the opposite cab, which can enable a quick turn in which that train can get going in the opposite direction as quickly as possible. So in our control center here, they're monitoring that, and they're making sure that operators are getting on those trains and that they're ready to go. Obviously, on a rail line like ours, and most rail lines, very, very busy, lots of activity, very limited opportunity to do routine maintenance and inspections while you're in revenue service hours, picking up and dropping off customers. One of the things that we have fortunate here is that we have very, very long service hours for our customers, some of the longest in the industry. So that means, conversely, very, very short windows of time for our maintainer to get out on the line and perform the necessary activities that they need to do. And with any rail line, especially those that are as complex as ours, there's a lot of activity that needs to go out there. So on a nightly basis, our control center here is coordinating with our maintainer, Rideau Transit Maintenance, all the activity that needs to happen with regards to their various track, catenary inspections, routine maintenance. There is hundreds of activities that they need to do, and some of them are daily, weekly, quarterly, and even annually. The rail industry is highly regulated, and safety is always paramount. So there is a lot of coordination between the control center staff here and our maintainer who's out there performing these activities. There's times where they need to launch what we call high rail equipment, which travel on the tracks. And they would need occupancy permits, and they need to identify a person in charge. And there's all processes in place to ensure the safe movement of these vehicles, as well as the safety of people that are out there. That's all coordinated here. We have a long list of standard operating procedures and processes that must be followed to a T, and it's all about ensuring the safety and security of both our customers, the vehicles, and the people that are working on the line. With the launch of the rail line, Line 1 behind us now, we are already turning our attention to the expansion of the system and the Stage 2 vehicles that are required for it. We are actually in the process of testing and commissioning the Stage 2 vehicles as we speak. There's times in which vehicles are running overnight hours, and that's requires some increased coordination with our maintainer, because they want to get out there and they want to be doing work to inspect and maintain the line. But at the same time, we need to have these vehicles out there getting the testing, getting the burn-in hours, we like to call this, a number of kilometers before we put them in revenue service. We also are, and some of our customers may have already experienced and seen this, we are sometimes putting these trains, these Stage 2 trains that we need to test and commission, we're running them during revenue service hours, and so it's an out-of-service train in which it's deckled so that customers know. But that all needs to be coordinated out of here, and so what we would do is we would insert this train in between, in a gap in service, and that would be updated on the passenger information displays at the stations for customers. But we are well underway in testing and commissioning the Stage 2 vehicles. And as I said, all activity on the rail line is coordinated through here. That would include the testing and commissioning of those Stage 2 vehicles. Behind me is our electric rail controllers, and as I said, they're monitoring and managing the service on Line 1. But the entire room that we're in right now has also been sized for Stage 2 expansion. It's an exciting time. We've got Line 1 up and running, but we're already talking about expanding Line 1 east and west, as well as expanding the original O train, Line 2, south and into the airport. So with the Stage 2 expansion specific to Line 2, we would also be bringing in our dispatch and control functions, which are currently performed by one of our maintainers out of Dorval, Quebec. Right now, they're responsible for dispatch and control functions of both the Via Rail line and our own. But with Stage 2 expansion and grade separation between the two rail lines, we're going to be taking that function in-house, and it's just going to be another piece to managing the service within the control center.